Welcome back to another episode of Raw Thoughts, me, myself, and AI, where me and ChatGPT break down everything that I've kind of gone through in my life, things that have gone well, gone bad, relationships, childhood, whatever it may be. I'll sit with ChatGPT and kind of get to the nooks and crannies of it all. So, episode 7, Naked but Never Honest. Why Men Fear Vulnerability More Than Sex. Men will take their clothes off before they take their mask off. We'll give women our bodies, but never our truth. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the one weight we've never been strong enough to carry. It's true. That's the facts of it. There's nothing you can really say on that. I know I am. It's easier for me to kind of be with someone where it's not intimate, but it is intimacy. Or sorry, it is intimate, but it's not intimacy. So, first topic, why do men fear vulnerability? I would say, or why does I'm not okay feel harder than violence? Is it a bit of shame? Like, do you feel like you're weak? Is it a survival thing? Is the silence of not kind of saying you're not okay easier than like being angry or aggressive towards something else, having an output? Um, I probably wouldn't sit there and say I'm not okay. When everyone asks me, I just say I'm fine, like I'm good, I'm cool. That's not because I fear the vulnerability. I just more time I don't need to tell that person, or it's not the right person asking me, and maybe it is the right person. I just don't think they are, and then I'm setting myself back anyway. But like I spoke to my boy about his problems that he's got going on, and he said to me he feels so much better having someone to just offload with that's not directly involved, and he said it helped him so much, and like I'm glad, like that's my boy, like I'll do anything for him. So I get it, and maybe the fear of vulnerability to a certain extent. I just think it's about who shouldn't be vulnerable to everybody, but you should be able to kind of speak your truth to everyone. Why brag? Why brag about pain survived but never pain shared? Hmm. Pain, pain shared. Is it implying that pain that you've actually caused? Because pain survived is pride. It's prideful that you're happy about it. You feel strong that you performed against something, and you're here as a winner or a survivor, so to speak. But pain shared, I would say pain caused. And why would you talk about pain you've caused? Because it puts you in a bad light. Now I'm a bit more open with that. Like I admit to cheating and all of that stuff. It's part of the story. It's not the full book. And I think people need to get past that. It's because you've done something doesn't make that's you. That's not your brand for the rest of your life. Like at some point, that case has to be closed. That chapter's long gone. Only if you've closed it. Forget everyone else. Some people won't let you forget things, and that's fine. But you have to kind of come to terms with it, and I think that's a key thing. Why does silence feel safer even when it kills us? I've said this before. Like, don't create a prison in your own head if you can't do the time. You're just isolating yourself from everybody, and it's just a slow, painful death in like mentally. You need to be able to let people have visiting hours at least. If you're gonna create the prison in your head, have visiting hours. Like send out some VOs and get people to come and talk to you, because otherwise you're just creating an isolation monster, and then it will just eat you from inside out. Why do we lock emotions like weapons? Because if you're too emotional in certain things, people will use it against you, and you don't want your own weapon being used against you, because then you're just always gonna revert back to locking your emotions away. So again, I always think it's down to the person. Be smart with who you invest your trust in, your emotions, your vulnerability with, and I think you'll get a lot more out of it. Sex versus real intimacy. Why is orgasms easier than opening up? Because it's temporary. It's a temporary high. It's quick. It's not necessarily quick. It's quicker and easier to do and move on from. Whereas opening up is a longer process, and you then have to deal with the other person, and so be it, and so forth. Why confuse physical closeness with emotional closeness? The body versus soul type. People confuse like being close to someone as they're being emotionally close because you're with them. No, I can be physically inside you, so to speak, but you'd be no emotionally closer to me than you were when we were miles apart. And some people can't fathom that. Like there, to me, there's a difference between where my brain's at to where my body's at, and they can be in two different places at the same time. And I don't think a lot of people understand that part. Why give your body but never truth? Again, it's transactional. It's a safe thing to do. It's very shallow. It's very shallow, but we're all shallow to a certain degree for certain things, but people just don't like to admit it. And people can hide their shallowness if it's not out there. And it's easy to point the finger at things that people know about that are out there. But if your stuff's hidden, then it's easy to hide and keep that to yourself. Childhood programming. Why told to man up but never shown how? Absent fathers, father figures. Silence was a strong thing back then. Hardness, these are things that when you're programmed these as a child, it's easy to more time in a single parent household, you're being told by females to man up, or by externals like teachers, and like you're hearing it on shows and whatnot. Man up, man up, man up, man up. But what's man up? And then you're then shown keep it internal, all of that stuff, and then you think that's the way forward. It's not. Be a bit more vulnerable. Teach your kids to be a bit more vulnerable. Ask them what's wrong, why they feel this way. Like get them to express a lot more. Why weaponize anger but bury sadness? Anger is like a weird knife with no handle. So imagine just a straight blade, no handle. You're holding it. It shows a lot of strength that you're holding this thing, but as soon as you open your palm, you're bleeding. That's all rage and all anger is you're harming yourself as much as you look like you're the guy. You're big. You're proud of being this loud person, but realistically, you're just hurting yourself. Why is no softness modeled by men we looked up to? Toughness was always the go-to. If you're tough, you're the man. The strongest will survive. All these things you hear, the the quietest one's always the weakest one, and all that. But really, it's not. It's really not. Like I know some real strong guys that can fight, strong guys that can lift. But I know some guys that don't even go gym, don't box, but will tell you like what's going on up here and can express it. Them men are strong, just as strong, if not stronger than the other lot. They're just physically strong. But them guys will get broken mentally first. And I don't mean like competition and stuff like that, I mean real stuff. Why does vulnerability feel foreign? It's foreign because it's not our usual go-to. It's not what we digested as kids. It's new to us now. It's a complete flip on its head. The requirements to be more open and obviously vulnerable to women, which is what I had the issue or have the issue with or whatnot in relationships, is I was brought up by women, but it was always on the whole kind of keep your stuff internalized. That's not what men do. That's what you grew up knowing and learning. So it feels foreign because it's not our natural go-to. It's new to us. It's a 2010 onward thing. Now imagine learning something from 2010, which would have made me 20. It doesn't work, and you're expecting young adults to just know this stuff when realistically, what am I? I'm 35. Turn 18, your class as an adult. So I'm 17 years into being an adult, which technically I'm not even an adult. So when I turn 36, I'm technically 18 years into being an adult. So 36 should be the age that you are a real adult, because you've had that same amount of time to kind of rewire your brain how you did when you was a child to become an adult. I don't think you should have adult responsibilities as soon as you turn 18, because you turn 18, you're zero of being an adult. You've just done 17 years of being a child. Now you're zero of an adult. So I think those kind of things need to come into play when it comes to men being men and teaching vulnerability. They need to learn to be adults first. The cost of avoiding vulnerability. Why do women leave men who never cheat but never open up? It's got to be loneliness. They feel very distant in the relationship. There's like a emptiness between them. As much as they'll be together, there's an emptiness between them. It's just vessels. They're like flatmates in bed, and flatmates that share a bed. It's not the same. They need that. Women need that vulnerability to make it kind of work in a relationship. Otherwise, they're gonna feel they're not connecting to the person, and they need that connection. If they don't get that connection, they just feel you're elsewhere with another connection. They need that strong Wi-Fi connection at home, unbeatable download speeds. They need that. Whereas if you're not giving that to them, they're like, you're out here just connecting to all these other Wi-Fis and not giving them what they need, which creates that stability. Why do marriages die in silence, not infidelity? Quiet breakups, like a hollow type love, I would assume, and walls. Like you're just the walls that get put up in marriages that just let it be, because this isn't what they envisioned to happen, but it's just what happened, and then that's what became of the marriage, and then it just dies out slowly. Not that because the other person stepped out of the marriage. It's just they didn't water their relationship. They didn't once they had the relationship, got married, and it was that they was thinking it was just going to be bosh from there. No, you then have to kind of go into a new relationship as married couple and excel from there. So it's like a whole different relationship and a whole different dynamic. Why why are we shocked when our partners say they feel alone? I feel like we're blind to it. We're definitely deaf to it, and we deny it because we feel like we're there. But what we're not doing is being present. We're there in body, but we're thinking about paying for this, buying that. When's that gonna happen? When's this? And the kids, this, that, the third. We pressurize ourselves where we don't just be in the moment and just say, look, this is a bit too much, right now. Like that will get you a lot further than bottling it and then kind of half lashing out or not saying anything, because then they think it's something else. When really you're just thinking, I gotta pay for this, I gotta get this done, that needs to be fixed, they need to be taken somewhere, blah, blah, blah. And then you're pressurizing yourself, which they would probably understand. And if they don't understand, then they're not right for you. But if they understand, then they feel closer to you. And that is what's missing. Vulnerability as real masculinity. Why is rawness scarier than war? It takes courage to be raw and real. It takes a lot of courage. You've got to have heart, and you've got to kind of have like a clear mind that you can understand what's going to come back from it if you give it. Now you can be as vulnerable as you want, as much as you want, or as less as you want, but starting to be vulnerable is key. Making that step onto the battlefield of being vulnerable is the first thing you should do. Just start with something small and start with someone you know you can trust. Once you start talking about it, it becomes a lot easier. This is where this podcast stems from, because I've spoken about it a fair amount. I feel comfortable talking about it. Like I can be vulnerable to a certain extent. Like there's some things I wouldn't talk about on camera. There's some things I will. Like it is what it is. But to people, if I trust you enough, there's things I'll talk about, and if I don't, you just won't hear anything. Why is honesty the real test of masculinity? It's the truth, firstly. It's a risk, and it shows strength. Like the risk factor of it is you don't know how the other person is going to take it, but at least you was honest, and that's something I struggled with because I always tried to control the dynamic, and a lie would have eased the control to sway in my favor or whatnot, whatever it may be. So would I say I'm weak? Yes, it would suggest that. Um, but also on the flip side, it was me trying to prevent a kind of a catastrophe, so to speak. I would say, but it's not even a catastrophe. But again, that's weakness because I should have just took the risk, trusted the person, and been truthful. Why strength without vulnerability is just armor? Why strength without vulnerability? Okay, it's hollow, it's fake, it's fragile, and it's a mask. Like it's all pretend. Like you can be strong and blah blah blah, but if you're not owning your shit, that's not no real true strength. You need to be able to master that, and if you can't, then you're not really that strong at the end of the day. Can men learn vulnerability? Why expect women to teach us what we refuse to practice? Why expect women to teach us what we refuse to practice? It's a burden, it's an avoidance thing, but we should practice it as men. You should always practice it. Like I said, start small. Talk to your boys. Talk about something that all of you can talk about, and then build on it. Make it a safe space. Have a drink if you need to, if it just relaxes you a bit. Whatever it is, put yourself in a situation that you feel comfortable enough to speak. Speaking is the first step to being vulnerable. Being quiet isn't. Why cling to that? It's just who I am. It's an excuse. You've created that identity, and it's an identity that now makes you a bit more of a coward. And I don't think that's what you want to look like or be told that you look like, but you need to address it to make the change. And to make the change, you need to remove that it's just who I am. That's just who you were. That doesn't mean that's who you are going to be in the future. Make the necessary changes for a better life going forward with those that are in your life still and those that are to come in your life. Remember, just because of who you know now doesn't mean it's who you're going to know in 10 years. You'll meet a whole bunch of new different people. Let them meet the better version of you. It's a shame the people prior didn't meet that person. But the new set of people that are going to come in and out of your life, it'll be a much more lasting effect because they'll be like, right, you know that guy? He's a good guy, he's very honest, he's very vulnerable, he says it how it is, he's that's someone I want to aspire to be like. That's the mindset you should be in. Why emotional nakedness feels dangerous. Fear, exposure, like you're kind of, you don't want you wouldn't want to walk around a shopping center naked, like physically naked. You wouldn't want to do that. One, you get arrested, don't do it. But you wouldn't want to do it because the fear of it. That's the same. It's the same fear in, internalized. You are embarrassed about what you feel or think versus you are embarrassed to walk around naked. So that's what you need to look at going forward. Just like what they say when you're speaking in front of a room full of people, picture everyone naked. That will make you feel better. So when you're being vulnerable, picture them naked or ask them a question that makes them feel vulnerable or share some vulnerability, because then it's like a point scoring thing. You don't feel as vulnerable as they do. You feel less. Why the strongest men are both open and unbreakable. It's powerful and it's balanced. The man that goes to therapy, the man that goes to gym, the man that takes care of his health, nutrition, all of that stuff, he's probably the most powerful man. Forget about the man with all the money. Money can be gained and lost. But if you can gain that kind of the mindset, the mental power, the physical power, like the nutritional power, you're on to something. Like the rest will follow. But that there is unbreakable. And that's what you got to think of. Couple stats. Men are 3.5 times more likely to die by suicide than women. That shows you that silence kills. Men don't talk enough. Start talking. 70% of men don't open up emotionally, even to close friends. Big facts. A lot of my friends, so if I got 10 friends, 7 of them aren't opening up. And I can vouch for that, because I would say three of my closest friends, 2 of my closest friends open up the most to me. The rest, as long as they open up to someone, I'm not that mad. But if they're not opening up to anyone, they need to sort that out. Vulnerability equals higher intimacy and satisfaction in relationships. I agree, because then the woman feels way more secure, way more happy. She will give more to you. You will feel closer. Sex will be more passionate because she will feel safer. And a safe woman in, will be a sexier woman to you. Remember that. Men think vulnerability makes us weak. But what's weaker than living your whole life hidden from the people who love you? Naked doesn't mean honest. And until we figure that out, we'll keep losing everyone who wanted the truth more than the performance. That was episode 7. I hope you enjoy. There's a lot of things to unpack at a later date on this, and I think I'd want to do it with someone else in the room. So we'll come back to this at a later date. But yeah, that was episode 7. Peace. Woo. Hot. Jesus.